everybody, it is Calxiyn and Hunter here. If you guys enjoyed this video, you guys should become patrons over on Patreon to support the channel, but you guys should just subscribe for, like, basically daily RWBY content, kind of.
More or less at this point.
Pretty much. I mean, all things considered, like, we're doing all right, you know what I'm saying? Okay, so basically, we're going to talk about Chapter 7 today, because that's what happened. So, I can't wait for you guys to see our reaction. That's all I'll say. Okay, so basically we start with Neo, right? Because basically the idea is, hey, you can kill RWBY because you're not a part of Salem's affiliation. I can't kill RWBY because I was ordered not to. So basically the plan is for them both to get to Atlas together, right? For Neo to stroll and kill RWBY, and then Cinder can relish in RWBY's death. Basically, that Cinder isn't the one doing the killing, because then she won't face the wrath of Salem.
She will get a courtside view of it.
Exactly. So I think that's a good plan for the villains.
Move your hand, I can't see the light fade from her eyes.
Exactly.
Thanks, Neo. Something like that.
Pretty much. So Salem wants RWBY alive, which I think is interesting, because it seems like...
Silver Eyes.
Yeah, it seems like in Maria's flashback, she wanted RWBY, or they wanted Maria dead. But they would also let her go just because they sliced her eyes off. Yeah. But we'll get to that later. But maybe a couple people think, and I'm a fan of this theory, that Salem wants RWBY because now she figured out that she can suck up the magic. Because Silver Eyes are an extension of, I'm guessing, Ozpin's magic. Because it seems like Ozpin has started the lineage of Silver-Eyed Warriors, right? Two of his kids in the new Ozpin body seem to have Silver Eyes, right? So the idea is that Salem's magic is dwindling as she gives it out and does things or whatever, and so she's, I don't want to say eating, but she's sucking up the Silver-Eyed power.
I'm eating
right?
babies. And
eating in fairy tales is very important, not to get into my fairy tale class again, but, you know, Hansel and Gretel, right? What does the witch do? She cannibalizes children. Like, the big bad wolf, like, he eats Little Red Riding Hood and Grandma, and so Salem is a witch. Right, and so for her to eat eyes, or to eat the Silver Eyes, or to want to eat RWBY, like, in some way, or even just suck up her powers, like, that's a very fairy tale motif, and so it would fit really well into the show. Y'all can take that one, Miles and Carrie, right from my fairy tale literature class, so let's go. Okay, so then, in backstory time, it seems like Salem is the master that paid this bandit or whatever, like, hey, just go after this person. Talk was her name. I wrote down cock in my, y'all can see what's on my mind lately. Okay, so, I'm joking, I swear.
Are you, though?
Yeah, so I wrote, it seems like, because she said, my master wants you dead, or whatever accent she has, right? So we can assume that the master was Salem or someone else. The master wants you dead. Right, because...
It's a fantasy world, and yet I still got a Cockney accent.
Think about, like, 300 years ago, or not 300, that's too much, 30 years ago, sorry. Think about 30 years ago, I guess, when, you know, this was probably happening. It seems like maybe that talk is sort of an emerald and mercury. Does that make sense?
How old is
Maria? I'm guessing she's like 70 now, so she would have been 40 or 30 back then.
30, so she's probably something like 40 years in the past.
Okay, so, Hunter.
I also love that this has been a good episode for lesbians, because there's no way we'll talk about that later. She has pinstriped pants.
And yeah, she's pretty butch.
The only thing that would dictate against her being a lesbian is those razor sharp teeth. Like, I can imagine that getting in the way, but beyond that, really.
Teeth don't get in the way when you're... I don't think so.
I mean, it would be startling. I can't say. It'd be startling.
I don't know. What was I trying to say? Yeah, so, like, say 30 years ago, right, when Maria was young, right, I'm guessing that what happened is that there was a Cinder, and that Talk is an Emerald and Mercury. So Salem had a person who was working under her, so let's call that A, and then A paid B. And so the master may not be Salem that she's necessarily talking about, but it may have been sort of that situation where, hey, you know, Hazel goes in, Hazel talks to Adam, Adam cuts off Yang's arm, which, you know, didn't happen, like, it didn't happen like that, like, Hazel didn't order him to or anything. I'm just using that as a comparison to show the lineage of people telling you something.
Where her place was in the organization.
Exactly, so I'm guessing that she didn't actually know Salem, or maybe she did, I don't know.
Who knows?
I really think that her fighting style is really good and just unique. Because you click the 60 seconds, she puts her aura on, and she fights her combatant for talk.
I was also talking about...
We'll talk about Maria in a second. Yeah. So, she has a sort of fighting style where it's basically quick and fast. She wants to kill somebody in 60 seconds. Like, that's her shit.
I'll make the argument that maybe if you ran away, you could have survived a little longer, but, whatever happened.
Well, see, what happened is that after the timer stopped, she took off her aura. And so I wonder if maybe she didn't have a good grasp of her aura yet, and so she could only keep it activated for those 60 seconds, or maybe that was part of her shtick. Right, or maybe, I don't necessarily know, like, maybe it's sort of like, you can use your aura at its strongest capacity if you use all of it in that 60 seconds. Does that make sense? It's like, do you want to put in 10% for 10 minutes, let's say, and get to 100% using 100% of your aura for a 10-minute fight, or do you want to use all 100% in 60 seconds? Like, maybe it works like that, where it would make you stronger that way. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. I hope so. So that was really interesting. I also like just the world building, I guess, with the fighting styles, if that makes sense. Because with Maria, right, you see that she has gravity dust embedded, and you see how that works when she's fighting that Grimm, that she can sort of, like, just fall out of the sky and then, and then, yeah.
It's such a cool weapon that I'm like, why did you only have it be used for the one scene?
I mean, I'm sure that she has one of them. Yeah. Maybe the other one's strapped on her back. Like, she's sort of hunched over, so maybe she's been carrying the other one all this time.
She says that later on in the thing, she says, like, I can still, fight, but I was too afraid afterwards. It'd be great to see, like, Maria as, like, an old lady kick ass.
I think we are gonna see.
I'm hoping.
I think I hear death flags, though, after she teaches RWBY.
Maybe.
No. After she teaches RWBY her silver eyes, and then she's like, she protects RWBY or something, and it's like, oh, I leave the generation in your hands, right? Because Cinder and Neo are coming after, and so it would sort of make sense that Maria self-sacrifices herself because she's an old woman, right? And she says, I'm just sorry I didn't leave the world in better shape, and then she's sort of like, hey, it's up to you guys, right? I think that would be a very nice, scene.
But then that would be like another beloved character of color that they killed off very quickly. Also Sienna Khan.
Like Sienna? Oh, that's true. And that's interesting.
So whether or not although I feel like we got a lot more time with Maria, and Maria's a lot more fleshed out than Sienna.
Yeah,
Khan
I agree. I mean, I can't speak.
They probably won't get the same level of.
I can't speak on necessarily like the representation aspect, but I don't know. Maybe that's sort of why they're well liked, if that makes sense.
Why Maria?
Like, yeah, for Maria, she's sort of like you keep saying, the sassy like abuela aesthetic, right? And so she's more loved maybe because she is a.
Although the general, the general aesthetic, I think, is very nice, like how they did the Dia de los Muertos.
And so it may not necessarily be that like they're killing off like
people
the POC characters on purpose, and maybe like we just love them for some reason.
People aren't slavishly following. Like, black character, I love her now. It's just the really cool characters they've made recently, new characters, have not been white.
Yeah. So that's sort of what I'm saying. I'm saying maybe, like, that's why, because they're just all awesome. Loved. Like, I don't know. I love Talk's accent, by the way.
Oh, you do?
I hate when you do it, though.
Is there Poppins for free? There should be another Cockney caricature. Character.
What if that's how Neo talks, and that's how she that's why she doesn't talk? She doesn't want to talk.
Neo, Neapolitan.
Oh God.
Me bum buddy Ronan got nicked by your black.
You can also see when Maria's aura breaks.
That's stolen.
What?
Got knocked off by your fucking silver-eyed cat over there.
Oh God.
So I need to get me paws on her. Need to knock her off. Know what I mean? I could be a great Neo.
Anyway.
Listen, Glinda's not coming back. Neo's all I have at this point.
You can see Maria's aura break.
To have Neo be a trans woman, yes?
You can see Neo. You can see Maria's aura break, which I think is really nice because people were sort of complaining last volume that they couldn't tell when the aura was broken, but this time you can clearly blind, tell.
But blue's still my color.
Yeah, so she takes off her aura, and that's pretty cocky after the 60 seconds, unless it just ran out, because that's what I'm saying. Like, aura seems to have some sort of time limit. And so she went into hiding. Oh, okay, I couldn't read my own handwriting. Anyway, I just really like that Maria, like, even, like, though she couldn't see, she totally set up Talk to get like axe in the back, and then she cut
I
her
called
throat.
that. I was like she's gonna do the, because I really loved how when she was fighting the bird they used the gravity
and I was like, that was all set up. That was really,
I was
really
upset
nice.
because I was really looking. I really wanted, like, it just stuck in her back and her spine. I wanted it to bisect her, because that's another part of the scene. That scene was fucked up.
I think it was just in the back to distract her, and then so she could cut her throat, right?
No, I mean, yeah, that's true. But also, like, that scene was fucked up because when Maria got her eye slashed, she was screaming in pain. Like, it wasn't bloody or it wasn't gruesome, but, like, just the screaming, it's unsettling, and I really dug it.
So this is Crow's idol that he's talking to. He modeled his weapon after her.
Oh my god, I thought you were so hot. I mean, none of us saw your face, and, like, the costume wasn't exactly form-fitting,
but this must have been Crow as a kid. Like, Crow was hearing rumors as a kid, maybe cute. In the bandit tribe. Like, oh, like, we don't know what happened to her, where she went. Because, like, obviously, this was, like, 30 years ago or 20 years ago, right? And Crow's old, so maybe in his 20s when he was working with Ozpin, they worked with, like, he heard about Maria, like, sort of all that sort of stuff. But he wanted to be, like, as good as her. And then she says, well, I turned out to be a disappointment, so you'll be on that way, too. And I'm like, yikes! And Blake's like, how can you say that? And basically she says, hey, like, my job was to protect people from the bitter end, but then I was only thinking of myself. Like, she basically thinks that she was selfish. And I have another video in the works.
Yeah, which could maybe, like you said, set up death flags for her. That maybe
set up death flags,
like,
yeah.
I'm not selfish. I mean, although I do want to see more of her because, oh my god, I love Maria so much. Also interesting, Maria points at Yang as just like, you're good, as if to say Yang's the strongest.
Well, because I think it's because Yang lost her arm and she kept fighting anyway. So I actually have a video on that separately, so you guys should check out that this week. And like, it's not Maria's fault, sad face. So RWBY basically is like, hey, teach me. And Maria's like, she just smiles, she doesn't answer. And then John starts calling, so it got interrupted. But we can assume that based off of Maria's facial expression that, yeah, she will teach
I love how in your notes you just put capital J, John, exclamation
point. You guys should have seen, I screamed when John started calling, and I was like, wait a fucking second.
Really
like, who am
I?
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
you just did. I just wanted to pinch a little fucking cheek.
What am I trying to say? I did not like John for a while, and then I started liking him, and then we got all those requests from that crazy person who made all the John crack theories.
Oh, fucking hell.
And so John and I have had a hard relationship, is what I'm trying to say.
I always dug John just for who he was, but he's really cute in this episode.
Yeah, and so I was actually excited to see John. That's how you guys know this is a good episode.
They all run into each other, and they're all hugging, and like RWBY hugs John, and I'm sure there's some Lancaster fans that enjoyed that.
Yeah, so Argus is really nicely designed because it's a mix of sort of, I guess, German houses, right? Like that sort of things.
And I just love
but it still has the Japanese sort of architecture of like the roofs and like all that. But
they also do a lot of good like visual storytelling that you see. There's big ass walls and there's like soldiers in white with rifles along the walls, and it's like, okay,
very
this
natural
place is under
exposition.
Atlas's thumb.
Very natural exposition from Jean and Ren in this scene. So basically...
Do they talk about the nature of the place?
Yeah, so the city is beautiful, by the way. That shot when we're going up the hill. Also, Rising Like the Moon is playing, so it's in a piano version as they climb up the hill, which I thought was really nice, because they're actually rising up the hill.
Fucking steep hill. It's just like, oh, look, and then it pans
I'm surprised that's why.
And it's just way deep, and I'm like, motherfucker.
I feel that's why they didn't show that, because they were just like, no.
Here's the thing, I haven't ridden a motorcycle, but I've ridden a dirt bike a lot, and downhill, they're motherfuckers, especially with a trolley. If I was young, I'd be like, fuck, brake, fuck. It would have been terrible.
Yeah, Jean and RWBY have a good moment here. I don't necessarily know if it's a shipping moment or it's just like, because RWBY and Jean were their first friends. Like, RWBY was Jean's first friend at Beacon, right, if you think about it, and then Jean was RWBY's first friend at Beacon. And so I don't know if Jean and RWBY are kind of like us, where we're like best friends, and so it's like a best friend hug. Because like a lot of people are like, you and Hunter touch each other a lot for people that aren't dating, and I'm like... Okay. And I don't know if it's like a shipping thing or if they're just like good friends, like hugging it out.
Because he was crying too.
I think he was worried, right? And so I think that he's just like, I don't want to lose you guys. How I lost Kira, right?
Why y'all bitches like he's just a person, like, you know, he was concerned about his friends. Like, it doesn't have to be romantic. I mean, if it's romantic, it's fine. But like, also like.
Y'all can debate that out yourselves. I don't really know. I mean, I think it's a bit of both. I think he's comparing RWBY to Pyrrha in a sense because he was worried about her, but he doesn't necessarily want to fuck RWBY. That's all I'm trying to say. And so I think he was just really worried about him and his friends, and yeah.
It was very sweet.
Blake, I like how Blake is like, well, we better find a ship. Like, that's all Blake does is she goes out and finds ships to take her places.
I think it was first, like, Blake gives John a nice side hug.
Does she?
Like, oh, yeah.
Oh, I didn't
side
see that.
hug. Yeah, and then Weiss just looks like none in your life.
Weiss is just like, no, bitch, like, stay away from me. So, Jean's sister is named Saffron, or Saffron. Like, they say it in a weird way.
Like Sappho, like the lesbian for which the word lesbian derives from.
So Jean is the youngest, and there's 7 sisters, and that sister is the only one that lives away from home.
And the photo's really cute because all the photo is like
it really shows like the character's personality.
Like
there's the nerdy one, there's the adventure one, there's the twins, older sister.
Younger.
I'm guessing that Sappho, that's what we're calling her now. Saffron is the one with the hair that kind of looks like 2 like cat ears, but obviously she's not a cat. But that's just the coloration of her hair.
She's not a cat. Guys, calm down. She's not a cat.
Anyway, I love it. Okay, so I've told this story before, but when I was first watching RWBY, I thought that Blake was a cat, like, from the get-go, before it was revealed. And so when I was watching with Hunter...
A lot of people... I've heard other people say that too. It wasn't a big surprise.
I don't remember what happened, but I was just like...
Oh, I remember that. She's like, wait, she's always been a cat.
Yeah, like, why are they freaking out now? She's always been a cat. And then Hunter was like, no, she's not a cat. Like, because Hunter was trying to instill the surprise in me, but he just failed.
It's a bow. It's a bow.
It's a
and
bow.
Then you were literally like, no, the ears are under the bow. She's probably just hiding it. I'm like, I don't know. Of course, you were absolutely right.
Yeah, so I was like, she's always been a cat. What's going on?
I remember I thought that, and I talked to other people, like, I think once in high school.
What if that was, like, imagine we started watching RWBY, like, when it first came out, and that would be our first theory, like, Blake is a cat. Like, after the first couple episodes, like, that's just it. Like, that would have made us on the map, you know? I regret not getting into the show earlier, but, like, I only started when we met Hunter, so that's, like... Anyway, so they're the only 2 living away from home, so there's a nice brother-sister relationship here. I appreciate
I know,
that.
they're all like, oh, who's a papa? And he's like, oh, and then I'm not a baby, that one's a baby, and you see,
and the baby's like, and I like
how, the great gaze, little boy.
So the wife is Tara, and so...
When she popped in, it was like, hi, honey, I think we both screamed.
You guys, I can't wait for you guys to see our reaction,
and I yelled lesbian again.
That was so funny, because when Hunter came in the door, like, to come into the house, I said, let's go, lesbians, because he was late, because he had an exam this morning. Thank you for coming over, by the way. And so now that...
3 essays on that
Now that we have let's go, lesbians again, I'm like, wow, it's all just come full circle.
We should create, like a total...
I also appreciate seeing just civilians, like, living their life. You know what I mean? Because we haven't really had any other civilians.
Running in the back. It was like, asshole, the tram left without me.
We haven't had any civilians, I mean, in contact with our main characters. At least not too many, where we actually sat in their house and ate sandwiches. But you kind of see, from the civilians' perspective, like, hey, you guys protect us, so it's no problem, like, letting y'all in. Like, is this even legal, though? Like, she has all these questions, because the general public doesn't know. So it's great world building to see this perspective of a civilian. You know what I mean? Like, of a civilian person. Crow's just bad at lying. So
he had this cute scene where he's just like, wait, aren't they a little young to be like dragged? Like, couldn't they be eaten by monsters? And he's like, you know.
It's a co-op, you know?
It's a co-op.
It's extended classroom learning. And he basically says, hey, I went to their academy. I turned out fine. And
they're a lot better than me. Well, not me. I was pretty great. But like other people. Great. Like Ty, he was a little shit.
So the last thing I'll say is, if you guys noticed, and we're going to do a whole video on this, I predict that winter is coming. Because when the gates to the Atlas area start opening, you hear the song that is from...
Well, we should also mention that the big gay's wife works Atlas.
As a, not for Atlas necessarily. She works up at the radio tower to manage the signal so they can get signal for their phones and stuff. Yeah. But the Atlas radio tower is also in the same area, and so now she's getting blamed for...
But they can't get into the Atlas stuff, so maybe they'll use her to
Maybe,
that
would be interesting.
That's my theory.
I'm gonna find...
What's happening next.
Well, I think next they're just going into the main building. I genuinely predict that Winter is...
Yes.
Is in there. I'm gonna try to find...
Winter showing up. It would also be cool if Winter was like, I don't know who you are, and so it creates more like conflict.
That's not it. I don't think it may not actually.
Or maybe they're just like, you have to let us in. Come on, we have Ozpin, and then Oscar's like, yeah, well, about that. And maybe then we get the scene where John like grabs him by the lapel and throws him against the wall. Like,
yeah, I'm not sure where it would be. Maybe it's a brawl in the family, just because you have sort of the fight tracks in the Volume 3 track, like it's not in necessarily order, so I'm a bit confused.
Hey, let's go, let's begin.
Nope. Oh, it's somewhere in Volume 3, I swear to God, I just don't know which one it is. I'm sorry. I tried to find it. I did my best. But it's either Volume 3 or Volume 2, where it's like the do-do-do-do. Like, do-do-do-do. Like the, you know what I'm saying? And it's like, do-do-do-do. Like in the back, like afterwards, and it's like, do-do-do-do-do-do-do. Like, not like that necessarily, but it's like that sort of staccato later. Like, you guys know the track I'm talking about, right? You know what I'm saying?
I didn't remember it until you pointed it out.
I don't know where it is. If you guys know what the track is, please post it, because, like, obviously I can't play it, or I can't play a bunch of RWBY music, or we're gonna get copyrighted or something. Like, I don't know. I think it's fine, but yeah, I don't remember where it is, but I'm pretty sure it's, like, when you see, like, all the Atlas military ships, and, like, it's sort of in the scene, like, pre-winter, like, coming down. Like, it's, like, one of the first scenes of Volume 3 or whatever, when you see all of the Ironwood airships just coming in for the Vital Festival, or it's in Volume 2, because he also, like, lands in Volume 2 or whatever, right? So I remember the song, so I really, like, that song is, like, the one that precedes sort of Winter's arrival in a sense.
So I think that
she's I
well,
think that she's there.
Because what if like Winter's just like, I don't know who you are?
Well, I think that's what happened with John, Ren, and them, that they were like, hey, can we get by? And she was like, fuck you, no. And now that Weiss is here, that's probably why Winter doesn't want to let them go back to Atlas, because Weiss is part of their team. Or maybe John didn't even explain, like, hey, I know your sister.
Weiss ran away, so maybe we're gonna learn more about what happened with Jock and what happened with Shipley and what happened with, maybe Winter's really haggard and pissed off at Weiss, and so there's gonna learn
I feel like we're definitely gonna see Winter. If that's not happening, then I don't even know.
Winter redesign, maybe?
Winter redesign? Yeah. But that's what I'm sort of thinking.
Maybe she's ranked up a bit, so she has a different uniform.
I'd like to do this in a different video, just because I would really like to find the song. But what am I trying to say? I feel like Winter, either what happened was John didn't fully explain the situation, like, hey, we know your sister, Winter Schnee, right? Or Winter was just like, we'll come back with Weiss and then we'll talk, right? Because she was probably pissed, like, hey, we know your sister, but we lost her on a train. And then Winter was like, fucking excuse me, right? Because that would have been sort of a big oof on John's part. But anyway, that's all I gotta say. I want to do a separate video on Winter once I find the track. I hope that I will see you guys later. Hope you guys enjoyed. Bye, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys would like to support the channel further, if you guys want to see us make more videos, if you guys want some cool, awesome rewards, you guys should become patrons over on Patreon. Patrons on Patreon have a variety of different rewards, so some of them are being able to request videos from us, so you could ask for a shipping video, a theory video, and we'll do it. Some of the rewards have to do with early access, so getting a video a week earlier, past a week early, and stuff like that, but the most important reward is getting access, at least I think it's the most important reward, access to our Discord server where you guys can talk and hang out with us. It's lots of fun, so I hope that if you guys want to support the channel, that is the route that you will take, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.